I did a video yesterday on Tesla and how I thought it had turned into a meme stock, and it was being pushed by the Reddit crowd, and it was just another AMC or GameStop. And then I was in anticipation of Elon's Investor Day, where he was going to tell us that he was going to produce a $30,000 electric vehicle and take control of the market. In fact, he even said that he would produce 20 million motor vehicles by 2030, which would make him the largest producer of automobiles and replace Toyota, who last year made 10.5 million and held the number one spot. Currently, Elon's in the number 19th spot, making 1.5 million. So he's going to basically take his production from 1.25 to 20 million over the next 7 years. I just don't think that's going to happen. And I want to kind of review what the auto industry is about and what Elon said over the 3-hour investor day last night, and why I think that the next stop is 150 and then back to 100 potentially. Let's talk about it. You see what you think, and let's come to a joint decision. Where is Tesla going?
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Griegmeyer.
Is it possible that Elon could be making 20 million Teslas by 2030? I don't know. As I said, right now the largest motor vehicle manufacturer is Toyota, and they make 10.5 million cars per year and represent 15% of the market, followed by Volkswagen at 8.3, who represents 6%. There are totally made 66.7 million motor vehicles in 2022. And again, Elon says he's going if that number stays somewhat constant, he's going to represent 33% of that market. Is that possible? Is it possible a new company, a new startup company, granted with some technology that others don't have, and most of the others are a generation behind, is it possible for him to capture 33% of the market? Well, I got to asking myself, has anybody else captured 33% of the market that they're in? Amazon owns 10% of the retail sales market. Apple owns 27% of the mobile phone market. Google owns worldwide, this is worldwide, these numbers, owns 85% of the search market. Wow, so that's possible. And Heinz owns 70% of the ketchup market. So is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. But let's go back and review kind of what happened last night, which would have been 2 nights ago, at his call. Everybody was anticipating that he was going to announce the introduction of a car that sold in the $30,000 to $35,000 range. And that would put him in a position to be competitive with the Chinese cars that are on the market. And the China market represents 50% of Tesla's sales. So it's key that that happens. But he didn't do that. He talked about building another plant in Mexico. He talked about getting the price of the batteries down, but he didn't really explain how he was going to do that. He spent 3 hours and I think he had, I think it was close to 20 people step up and talk about the future of Tesla. And most of them talked about was past accomplishments, past things that they were doing or have done, and nothing about what is coming in the future. So it caused me to reflect back on an interview that I shared in the video yesterday, how the surge in the price of Tesla from $100 a share to over $200 in the course of roughly 60 days was unprecedented. I sat back and said, well, you watch this and you listen to what this lady says.
A tear this stock has been on, as you said, up almost 70%. We're seeing during this run is that individual investors have doubled down on the stock. It is by far the most popular buy among individual investors. That's according to some Vanda research data as of this year. And single-day purchases of the stock hit a record this year. So as Tesla recorded one of its worst years on record, you saw individuals say, hey, I'm going to double down. I'm going to buy the dip in Tesla shares. And
again, I want to repeat what she said. It is the biggest surge or a tremendous surge in Tesla's price after the worst year they've ever had. Yeah. And also then, on top of that, the disappointment that he didn't come out with what all the meme stock supporters thought he was going to come out with, and that was a $30,000 automobile. So I think Elon has a tendency to overshoot the target and make promises that maybe he can't keep. So I look at it and say, okay, where do I go from here? I won't be buying Tesla, and it's not because I don't think that Tesla could be a Heinz ketchup. I don't know if they can, but I don't think they can without China, and I don't believe that the risk and reward equation works out that Xi Jinping isn't going to step in and take his plant away from him. Again, if we go to war with China over Taiwan, I put that in an equation in my experience of we went into war after some coaching, I guess you would call it, or pleading on the part of Churchill. We did, and after being bombed by Japan, we got involved in World War II. But if we get involved in a military conflict with China, I just have no doubt that Xi Jinping is going to take possession of that plant. And right now, one half of Tesla's business is coming out of China. So with that in mind, I can't invest in it. The risk is not worth the reward. I mean, if tomorrow Xi Jinping said, this is over. We're taking over the Tesla plant, and we're going to change the name on the car to NEO, and it's out of here. Tesla stock would tank. It would go to 50. So I can't take that risk because it just seems to me that the political and economic conditions in China right now are kind of lining up with what Russia's situation is. China's got a huge problem of not enough young people, not enough food, not enough oil and energy to support the problems that they have. The housing problems, the banking problems, they just grew too fast. And now the world is saying, we don't want to depend on you anymore. And we're going to move our cheap labor manufacturing to India and possibly South America, and we just can't deal with this potential problem here. So I guess I'm all coming back to, I think it's a given that Tesla will go down to 150. If you'll look at your chart, there's a gap down there at 150. And again, remember I believe the surge from 100 to above 200 was based on the anticipation that last night Elon was going to announce the introduction of a $30,000 vehicle, and it didn't happen. And it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. And then those numbers, 20 million, when right now Toyota, the largest manufacturer, and they've been around a long time, we started bringing those suckers over here in 1977. They make 10.5, and Elon says he's going to make 20 million. Don't see it happening. Elon says he's going to control, based on current sales, 30% of the market, 30% market share. Toyota currently has 15%, followed by VW, Volkswagen, who has 6.7%. These numbers are kind of screwy because if you ask Google, you'll get numbers for just the United States, and then you credit and say just for the world, and then it's number of vehicles or dollar volume of vehicles, and does it include trucks or doesn't it include trucks? So it's kind of screwy, but again, 33% of the market. I don't see it happening. So I've got to stay away from Tesla. And my prediction is it will hit, go back to roughly 150. That's where the gap is. And then from there, it could go to 100, depending on Homer and just how hard Homer's going to beat that drum and these other folks on YouTube and Reddits to say, we got to keep this thing up. I don't think it's real. I talked about yesterday, real. What are the real values? And some of you came back and said to me, my anticipation that Pappy Van Winkle will continue to go up into price is crazy, that Buffalo Trace is increasing their capacity. Remember, Pappy Van Winkle has to sit in a barrel for 23 years before it can be sold. That's 23 years away. The next one down is 15 years. If you said to me, Tesla is going to manufacture this magnificent automobile today, but it won't be available for 23 years, you couldn't get me to invest in it, okay? But they're in Pappy Van Winkle's case and Buffalo Trace's case, they've been making every year. They got another release that'll come out this December, and people will pay thousands of dollars for it because they only make so much. Do you really believe they're going to shoot themselves in the foot and say, okay, we're going to take this double capacity and we're going to make all Pappy Van Winkle 23 with it? Yeah? And wait 23 years for a return on a $1.2 billion investment. I just don't see that happening. You must understand business if you're going to invest in it. Otherwise, go buy yourself a Silver Eagle silver dollar and get it in pristine condition and leave it to your grandchildren. Okay, that's my take on Tesla. I hope you don't get hurt by it. I hope you don't. There's just a lot of exposure here. I became aware of a guy. Oh, I'm not going there. No, not going there. All right, I'll talk to you again tomorrow.